Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Clementine. Today I'm going to do a deck tech for Tokka and Rahzar, Terrible Twos from the Ninja Turtles Magic Set. So it's a 2 mana Rakdos card, can't be countered, it has menace, and whenever a player casts a spell, if the mana value spent to cast it was less than its mana value, deals 3 damage to that player. Now that includes me as the player. So I 1 love Rakdos, 2 love Chaos, 3 love Burn, 4 love to see 2 Little Beast messing up a cop car. So I was like, I'm building this deck, and yeah, so let's go ahead and go through, look at the cards, and decide if you think that it's a cool deck or not. This deck is kind of like a half and half. You're having people cast free spells, and you're doing as much damage to everyone as possible. But the thing that I like about the card is that it does it to me too. And I kind of didn't really like put too much effort into working around that. But the first thing I will talk about is things that I put in the deck to get around that. So first is Phyresis. So enchanted creature has infect. So that's kind of like if you play this, all of a sudden it's doing poison counters. Now, this is not something that I'm like totally married to having in the deck. I haven't really gotten the chance to play this card yet. The like 4 times that I played this deck, but I thought that was like a cool finisher. So we'll see. Basilisk Collar gives a life link, so that the damage that I'm dealing, I can get some back. This one also kind of gives like a life link thing, and this also gives it a lifelink counter. So I put a couple stuff in there to be able to counteract the damage being dealt if I'm able to draw it. But honestly, I haven't drawn those cards yet. Then the next sort of chunk is going to be like cards that deal damage to your opponents. That's what this chunk is here. So we got Scrawling Crawler. Every player draws a card, and whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose a life. Whenever a player casts a spell, they lose a life for each spell they cast this turn. If your source you control will deal damage to an opponent, it deals double that instead. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, it deals damage equal to any target. This one, if it's not their turn, deals 4 damage to them. Mana Barbs, tap lands, take damage. This one, on my upkeep, each player gets to draw a card. Good card draw for me. Damage to everyone else. Whenever a creature enters, it does 1 damage to their controller. This is kind of like a, propaganda, but for damage, which I think is kind of fun. Damage for card draw. Also a damage doubler for my opponents. Lord of Pain, love this card. Whenever a player casts their first spell each turn, you choose another player, it deals damage equal to that player. This one deals damage to people's upkeep unless they sacrifice something. This one is also a lot of fun. It deals increments of 2 damage to each player and create treasure tokens on my upkeep. So I think that's a really fun card. This one also deals damage when people draw cards. This is kind of a global effect of damage doubling. Whenever a player casts a spell, they lose 3 life unless they discard a card. Deals damage to an opponent on their upkeep. And then it deals 5 instead. Oh yeah. So this kind of goes on my commander. If they cast something for free, it deals 5 damage to them. Harsh Mentor. People have a token deck, foods, treasures, whatever. This will go crazy. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, they lose 2 life. Whenever a player successfully casts a spell, it deals 2 damage to them. And whenever a player casts their first spell each turn, it's kind of like a randomized version of Lord of Pain. So that's like the big chunk of damage dealers in the deck. Because with our strategy, we want to be throwing around as much damage as possible because relying on this doing only 3 ain't gonna really cut it. Now, let's get into the stuff that has people cast stuff for free. It's not as big of a chunk because there's not as much of this in red and black, but as you'll see, almost all these cards are red cards because it kind of plays into that kind of chaos element. So literally the best card in the deck is Possibility Storm, especially if you have Possibility Storm tied with Helm of Awakening. So with Helm of Awakening, every spell costs 1 less to cast. That will immediately put Tokka and Rahzar online. Everything, if it has a colorless mana in it, is dealing 3 damage to each player. Then on top of that, Possibility Storm, you get the first cast, then you get the second cast, that's 6 damage. Not including everything else we have that I just showed you about all the other damage. Then we got Wild Evocation. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player reveals a card at random from his or her hand. If it's a land card, they put it on the battlefield. If it's a otherwise, they cast it for free. So there's going to be a lot of that going on. We also have this, which is kind of a removal spell where they can get something to cast for free. And you can give it demonstrate, so you can do it a lot of times. You can do it to yourself. You can do it to your opponents. It's a lot of fun. Then we got Tibalt's Trickery. It's a Star Wars proxy. This one, you counter a spell, and then someone else will get to cast something for free. Another one of those elements. Creative Technique is similar. You cast something yourself for free, but you also give it to someone else, and you get to do it again. Yeah. Because even though you're taking damage, it's still fun to cast stuff for free. That's kind of like the theme of the deck. Now, this one, I have not played this card yet, so I'm not married to it being in the deck, but it plays into the chaos element. So players cannot draw cards, and at the beginning of each player's draw step, that player exiles the top card of their library. If it's a land card, if it's a spell, they cast it for free. This is similar to Helm of Awakening, but it's for multicolored spells. This one is a little bit more expensive, maybe not as effective, but I wanted to put it in there. Knowledge Pool. Knowledge Pool is a big chaos card, so whenever players are casting spells, they go into a pool, and then instead of casting what they cast something else from the pool. So for free. So it also is kind of like a Possibility Storm, but from a pile of everyone's cards as opposed to your library. And then we got Zawaya is Justice. It says the owner of target artifact or creature with mana value 1 or greater shuffles into the library, then they discover X, where X is mana value. It's another one of those, I remove something of yours, you get something for free, you take damage. So those are the group hug cards that are in the deck, that are trying to get players to cast spells for free. Now we got a couple more things that are playing around with damage. These two right here are really fun. So they're both pretty similar. You tap a creature, and then it's equal to that creature's power, deals damage to the player. So we got Backlash and Delirium. These are pretty fun cards. I put Spider-Punk in this deck because why would you not want Spider-Punk to be in your deck? It says spells and abilities cannot be countered, damage cannot be prevented. Pretty good in deck where you don't want things to get countered, you don't want things to be prevented. One more. We got Guffer Writes History. Each player chooses a permanent that they control. Oh no, I choose. So for each player, I choose a permanent that they control. Then they get shuffled into their library, and they get something for free off the top of their library. It's kind of like a Chaos Warp, but for everybody. But they're not just putting it on the battlefield, they're casting it for free, which is essential. And then you also got Parker Luck, which you can choose 2 players. They reveal the top card of their library, put it in their hand, and they lose damage. They lose life equal to the mana value of the card. I got a couple more kind of like fun damage dealers. These are kind of like games. So you got Mob Verdict, and Mob Verdict says each player secretly votes for another player. Then those votes are revealed for each player and opponent received. 2 damage to that player, and each creature that a player controls. Sorry, I don't even know what it says. And then for each vote, I receive a draw card. So you kind of being like, do y'all want me to draw cards, or you want to deal damage to each other, and maybe do even board wipe. You know what I mean? Then we got Prisoner's Dilemma, which I love. Prisoner's Dilemma. This one is so fun. Each opponent secretly chooses silence or snitch. If everyone chooses silence, everyone takes 4 damage. If each player chooses snitch, they get 8 damage. Or if one person chooses silence, everyone else chooses snitch, that player gets 12 damage. It's kind of a fun thing where you're playing mind games. A little bit of protection on here. Crawl space, just in case people want to come at you really crazy because you do all of this stuff. Prevent it a little bit. Temp with Mayhem is fun. You can copy a spell. Everyone else can copy it too. Cast it for free. Actually, wait. They don't cast it for free, but it is fun. And then you also got Deflecting Swap, because Deflecting Swap is fun. Then we got some card draw. Sometimes for myself, sometimes for my opponents. Keen Duelist is kind of similar to Parker Luck. Thrill of Possibility. Discard a card, draw 2 cards. You got Wheel of Fortune. Valgavoth is really good because he's going to be, one, getting really big, putting a lot of counters on him, and then also when people are losing life on their turns, you're drawing cards. So it's really good. Demand Answers, similar to Thrill of Possibility. Sign in Blood, draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, and Nice Whisper, draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. Then, last little chunk here, we got some ramp. So we got Talisman of Indulgence, Soul Ring, Mind Stone, Arcane Signet, Swiftfoot Boots. That's not a ramp spell, but you know, gotta protect boys. Rakdos Signet, Wayfarer's Bauble, Thought Vessel, and Fellwar Stone. Because you know you're in Rakdos, you gotta do what you gotta do. And then one last little thing that I have in here that I'm not sure if I want to keep in here is a Demonic Tutor. I don't usually play tutors, but with this kind of deck, I was like, well, you know, I might need to find like the Helm of Awakening or Possibility Storm or whatever it may be to really make sure that the deck is functioning. So I put that in there. We'll kind of see. I do think tutors are boring. I'm not super into being able to control the game that much, but some people are. But yeah, that is Tokka and Rahzar. I think the deck is super fun. It's a lot of fun to play. I love the art. You know, they fucking up a cop car. Who doesn't love to see it? So yeah, that is my commander deck. One of 2 commander decks that I built for Ninja Turtles. So yeah. I will put a link for the Architect in the description. And feel free to leave comments about cards that you think would be good in this deck. Whatnot. Don't be mean though. So yeah, thanks for watching. And one last thing, please subscribe. I am gonna try doing YouTube videos. I like doing videos about Magic. I also want to do videos about pop culture in general. I want to do videos about set releases, talking about cards, talking about decks. So please, if you are interested, please subscribe. I want to start doing this. I think it's fun. So please like and subscribe. Thank you.